Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Eli. I'm the owner of Turnkey Patterns, where we do everything from pattern, sewing, production, and then how-tos and teaching you guys everything that we can, along with our podcast. But today we're gonna get into talking about waistbands. We do a bunch of denim stuff. So I figured we'd have the opportunity here to dive deep into every single thing that we do here that makes our work special, and then hopefully for you guys at home, you could try these techniques out. So today in specific, we're gonna talk about waistbands and how we do our waistbands, right? There's probably 2 or 3 different ways how people do waistbands, how they cut them, what tools they use, how they apply them, the type of equipment. So we're gonna show you guys how it's done and how we do it, and so hopefully you guys learn something and you guys do it how we do it, so you get a good product. Talking about waistbands, you know, there's so many ways to do it, right? Like a lot of the times, if you really look at how a piece of jean is shaped, a lot of the times there is some type of curvature going around like this. So more often than not, I see waistbands that are, you see how this is kind of wrinkling like this? It's wavy. This is pretty minimal, but I've seen some that do this. Like they're always like sticking up like that. And so I know if you've made yourself maybe a pair of jeans, or you've gotten a pair of jeans, and then you wear it, but then the top of the waistband kind of goes out like this. Something like this. And then you might be wondering, why is that happening, or how does that even happen, right? Well, the reason why that happens is because of how the waistband was cut. So there are a couple traditional ways where people just cut it, you know, a rectangle shape like this. It's just flat. And then they'll put it on the machine and they do all these things. And then the way that we do it is a half moon. So that's what I'm gonna show you guys in detail, but it's getting kind of boring being in here, so let's go out to class. So we made it into the shop, actually just a small, short walk. But now we're in the shop, it's a little more interesting. It's really noisy, so hopefully the audio comes out clear. But we're gonna continue our conversation with the waistband and how it's cut. So let's get right into it. So a traditional waistband is cut like this. It's a square, a rectangular shape. There really isn't a measure, well, I guess let me just say that. Sometimes when they make waistbands for jeans, they'll just say for like something like this, right? So this is a production that we're doing right now. So a traditional way that they do these types of things is that they'll measure the whole waist, and then they'll build a waistband so that when they sew it, it'll get the measurement. The waistband will have the measurement. So that's really how they do it. So they'll go like this, and then they'll apply the waistband, and then the waistband will be like, oh, I want my waist to measure a 32. So then the waistband will measure 32. And then when you apply it, you know, you'll get your 32 waist. So that way kind of works, but it's not very accurate, and they don't look pretty, and in production, it doesn't really work. So that's one way. The other reason why I hate doing it that way is because you'll have a square like this, a rectangular shape, and then they'll fold it over like this, right? And then if you fold it over, then you get your measurement of your waistband, which is, you know, traditionally 1 3/4 or 1.5. So you see how that works like that? And then you'll go on and apply. So why that doesn't really normally sit right is because if you look at the waist, you notice how this sitting flat, our bodies aren't flat. Our bodies aren't like this. We're not bricks. You know, we have shape, we have curve. Even for a male, our bodies just tend to always have a shape. Women even more, right? So women waistbands and how those are made, and what goes into making a women's stretchy jean, especially a woman with big hips, that's a whole nother video. But right now we're talking about men's stuff. So you see the shape going on right now, like this, when you put a square waistband, what you're gonna get is puckering like this. See that? And then you get a waistband that kind of stands up. So that's why when you guys are making waistbands, they always tend to go out. Why that's happening is because the difference between the circumference on the inside is greater than the outside, meaning it is wider here than it is up here. See that? So it's like you need to remove fabric from the top to remove the puckering, right? But how do you do that? You can't, because you made a one-fold waistband like this. So then you're kind of left with a waistband that kind of looks like this, and at best, you know, it'll kind of sit flat, but you always get that little bit of puckering, right? So this is why this traditional waistband doesn't really work. So the way that we do it is a half moon. So if you look at this, this is a half moon waistband. So this versus this, the length doesn't matter. This versus this. You see that? Half moon versus straight. This, you'll be able to see that no matter what, look at that. It's curving way more than this. See that? So even just as is, you can see that the radius is greater here than here. So that's why we do all our waistbands half moon. The downside about this part is that when you're talking about yield, meaning how much the garment is consuming, so let's just say this table right here and here, this is 1 yard, right? So as you can see, if I have one waistband here and another one here, the consumption of the waistband is more with this than with this. I could stack 2 of these, see, look at that. 2 of them pretty much by the time I even get to 1, because these are half moon, so more fabric gets wasted. So that's why these aren't really curved so crazy, because there is a limit. So we found that this is our perfect shape to get it so that it has a nice shape and it doesn't consume too much. So now, when we apply these types of waistbands, we also don't go off the measurement of the body, right? We're not like, oh, well, the body measures this, but the waistband needs to measure 32. That's not how we do things when you're applying it like this. Every single pant that you see here in the shop, unless it's, unless it's a dress pant that we can't put into the machine and use a folder, the waist will tell us what the waistband, the final waist measurement will be. We don't adjust the waistband, so that's why we have this big stack of waistbands, you know, and a bigger stack of waistbands on the side, because it doesn't matter if it's a 28, 38, 42, 60, the waistband's the same when it goes through the machine, because what's telling us, what's gonna give us the final measurement of the waist, is not the waistband. Like a lot of people believe, or a lot of people think that, you know, you make the waistband and you make its measurement. The body is what matters. The body is gonna tell us what the waist is gonna be. So that's the difference between doing it this way, single needle, and giving your measurement here, versus how we do it in production and we use the machine. Now that we kind of went over all the boring stuff, we could get into very technical stuff of how we apply it. So although, you know, single needle is completely out, we could now talk about the types of machines. All right. Let's get technical with this stuff. So now that we've gone past doing a waistband single needle, right, we now move to another technical area of folders that go on the waistband machine. So there are specialized machines for waistbands, if you guys don't know. And its only job is to apply a waistband. So now you know that our waistbands are half moon, that's what we call them. They're half moon just like this, for every single type of, or for any size. See this one? This is a production cut. This is the size 34, but the size 38, the size 30, the size 28, the size 26, all look the same. Because again, the boss is the body, this is just here along for the ride. So now to get technical, we talk about this stuff. So now the guys that get the waistband machine, I've seen it a lot in denim, they'll get the waistband machine and they're like, cool, we're doing it. It's a Singer, what is it called? 302U. That's the machine. They'll get the machine, and we'll go take a look at it right now, but they'll take the machine and then they'll grab a folder like this. So this folder will take in a waistband like this. So it's a cut width of 4 inches, and the finished piece, what does it say? 1.5. So I don't know if you'll be able to see right into that. Right here, it'll say cut 4, and then it'll go into 1.5, right? So we used to use this type of style of waistband, but we stopped using this just because I didn't like the type of quality that it was putting out. So the way it works is that you'll put this in on the machine, you'll cut your waistband. You're still not measuring your waistband, so still not doing this, right? So you are a step ahead. You're still not measuring it, right? You're still doing this style, but you're cutting a square. You feed it through the machine, right? Something like this, and then you slide it in. There it goes, and boom, you get your finished measurement. You see that? And then this will then be applied to the body, right? So again, we'll get into it over there at the machine. Actually, it's this way. And then this will be fed through the machine like this. See? And then it applies the waistband on there like this. So this is a double fold 1/2 inch waistband. So the issue with this type of waistband was one of the two things. Was that I didn't like the fact that, again, there's no control on the waistband top. This style would still kind of pucker a little bit because you're only folding over. And if you ever wanted to have a contrasting color on the inside, there's zero control. So although this is great when you're starting, when you really want to get to another level, this style, it's kind of obsolete. It's just like, it works, but you still get this whole crease thing, you know? So we ditched this whole way of doing it, and then we switched our folder system to a 2-folder type. So top feed and bottom feed. So this is what we have here. This folder is a little bit bigger because this waistband finish is 2 1/4. So that's kind of a little oversized, but for this example, it works. So we'll have one waistband cut at 3.5 and another one cut at 3.5. These would still be cut half moon like this. So this will still be fed in here. But look, if you look now, it's a sandwich. We have the top and the bottom all going in, see? And the reason why this is great is because these can be cut half moon, and you can also control these so much better. And so the quality of this looks better because you'll have a double fold on the top and a double fold on the bottom. So that way it's nice and clean. And you'll see waistbands on jeans where if you do it this way, you'll see a single fold. Because I mean, if you really look at this, when you put it on a jean, you could see the difference of like a cheaply made jean and like more of a high quality piece. Because look how thin this is. Same fabric. But now if we look at this one, it's double the pieces, double fold. So from a quality perspective, this is obviously better. But from a shape perspective, this is definitely better. So then you have that half moon that goes into this, and then look how nice this is. And if you did want to have a jean where, let's just say the inside waistband, you wanted it to be a different colored fabric, or let's just say like these jeans right here, just to show you. You know, this is probably a great example of what I'm talking about. Actually, let's remove all these. So you see jeans like this. See how the inside of the waistband is a different color? With a single fold waistband, there's zero way that you can do this because you have no control of the waistband. You can't control the waistband, the inside or the outside, because it's one piece folded over twice. So, and as you can see with this, see how nice that fits? And people wonder like, oh, why is this so smooth? It's because it's cut on a half moon, and we use a folder that, you know, it's a 2-piece folder. And then you could see like the thickness. It just looks way better like this. And that's with every single jean that we do. You know, here's another one. This is a typical just 5-panel jean. This is for hidden rivet. Same thing. You kind of see it here more. See how it's a 2-piece? I wish I had a single fold waistband to show you, but it would look like this. It would just look sandwiched. So it doesn't really look its best, right? But some people, when you don't know, you know, you do what's available to you. But we do specialize in making jeans, so we try to get all the fine tools. So let's go look at the machine real quick, right? So this baby right here is the Singer 302U. So the machine is just specially designed for applying waistbands. So the machine is, obviously this folder is a lot bigger because this is for a finished waistband of 2 1/4. This folder wouldn't really work for this machine because this machine is set up for a finished waistband of 1 3/4. So that's the only thing that it could do. And that's how we have it set up. And 1 3/4 is the gauge, what they call it, the separation from here to here. So the gauge is 1 3/4. If you wanted anything less, 1 1/4, we could move it. Anything bigger, you would have to then set up only to do this. That's one of the things about these like production style machines is that they do one job and they do it very well. But that's pretty much it. It's just a one job. So if I wanted to adapt this, I would have to switch all the gauge setup on this. So we have this for another machine that we use. It's a multi-needle, which we kind of get away with doing this. But for this machine, this is the only folder that we use. So the way this works is that we insert those half moons, you know, like I told you, one on the bottom, one on the top, and then you start it kind of like this. It's exactly the same setup as this. That's why we only use this style. So they'll fold the waistbands and they'll make a little box like this before they start right here. And then they'll go over it so that you have the double chain stitch here. And then they'll feed the piece through like this. And then they'll run the whole waistband all the way to the end. See that? All the way. So they get to the end, and then they'll drop down the folder, and then they'll release some, and then they'll cut it, and then they'll make the final box single needle. So that's the difference between these folders and the other type of folders. Like I said, there's many different ways to do this type of job, but this is the way that we found to do this type of job the best. So this is pretty in detail how we do things here at our factory at Turnkey. All our jeans go through the same process. The half moon thing, we figured out the right shape just from experience. You know, the exact measurement, if you really want to get into it and you want to do it yourself, take a waistband straight, find the center, bring the center up 4 inches while keeping the sides. It doesn't matter the length of the waistband, like I said. So if you want to make the waistband 60 inches, usually most waistbands are going to be, even for your biggest size, they just say 40, right? Make it 40 inches long, find the center, you know, of its shape, find the center, fold it in half. From there, bring up the center 4 inches, and then blend it to 0, meaning from the point where it started. And then you'll create a half moon, right? And then that will be your waistband for every single jean. If when you do this method, the waist is really big, then guess what? The body's really big. So the body needs to be reduced, whether it's on the facing, whether it's on the yokes, the side, the front. There's a bunch of different ways. There's 8 different locations where you would adjust the measurement on the jean. So, and then we get into measuring and how to do all this whole thing. So I think just to keep this video short, we'll only talk about waistbands. We'll touch base on how we measure and the proper ways of measuring, which also has to do with the curvature of the body. So to wrap it all up, to sum this whole thing is that don't use a rectangular type of waistband. Use the half moon method. If you have the tool, great. A lot of times you won't. If you go to a manufacturer and you see a single needle on the waistband, you look on the inside, and we look at this waistband. if you don't see a chain like this is a chain stitch, and it has to be on the waistband machine. So if you're going to a manufacturer and you don't see a chain stitch like this, and you see a stitch like this, the single needle on the inside, then they are using a single needle machine to construct it. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not the proper way to construct a pair of jeans. So to be honest, you can actually get away with the single needle to make a pair of jeans. You could do a flat felled seam with the single needle, but it's not the right way. You know, you do need a flat felled machine. You do need a bunch of all these specialized machines to make a good pair of jeans. These are just a couple of things to look out for. Hopefully this video was educational. You learned something. And if you like this video, please share it. Please subscribe to our channel. We're trying to create more content like this to fill while we're doing our podcast stuff. If you have any recommendations of type of content that we should be doing, do you guys want to see more BTS, more how-tos? I don't know, just message us or actually comment down below. Let us know what we should be doing and we'll do it, because we're here to make content. We're here to make things educational. We're here to make things fun. And that wraps up this video. So I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.